Hey y'all, welcome back to Cardinal Lawn Life. What's going on, lawn monsters? It was a long week of lawn care this week. And there's not going to be a whole lot going on next week, but the thing is of next week is the 23rd of this week, of next week, of Monday. Um, of March, I'm going to get bud work done. I hate needles. I don't like needles, but this is something within the routine that I have to do, and it's part of life. Not everybody likes doing it, but it's part of life. So they have to get it done to see what's going on. So, with that being said, blood work is next Monday of next week. So I'm taking that day off, and then hopefully Tuesday I can go to work. We'll just see if I'm in pain or not. Um, so with that all being said, I got a um, what's they call it? It's I'm getting some microphones on YouTube for on Amazon that are going to be made for this. I do have a picture of the microphones that I will be getting, but they're paramounted. Like, I mean, they don't plug into anything. They just clip onto your shirt, and then there you go. You have your microphone. So those of you that can hear me okay, you'll get to hear me a little bit better when I get those. So my aunt's gonna actually help me order them up, and then I'm getting some new pants, what are gonna be shorts for the hot winter time because I cannot go along wearing jeans during the summertime. I mean, here and there I can wear them, but mainly for work, I'm going to be wearing shorts because now, speaking of summer and everything starting to take off with the blooming and stuff like that, it's gonna be to where I need that. Now, today, I did my sister's yard, got that back to whip back into shape. Tuesday, I did a couple. I didn't even do a couple. I just did one yard. And Monday, I didn't even work. But Wednesday, I didn't even work. Thursday, uh, I did probably 1 yard. Today, I was gonna do two, but it happened to be one because the coworker that I had didn't want to work. So, from there and that point on, it's fine. Um, and the other job was going to be the church. That was mainly the point of today. Like, I moved both jobs to be today, and the person didn't want to work. So, with that all being said, that's where I'm at right now. Now, something that is new to the channel is this. I just got a brand new a pair of safety glasses. So these will, for now on, whenever I'm working, these will be in the channel and up until they retire, meaning when they get scratches on the lens. So with that being said, and plus they look a lot better and they save a lot better. Just because they come down, they don't have the thing on top, but they do come down to where they cover the bottom of your eye to keep things from getting in. Today they actually came into handy because I did a little bit of mowing with a push mower and all that other stuff. Got the paperwork done, so now mainly I just got to get through Monday of next week, get the blood work done, and then possibly hope for the best to go to work on Tuesday. But that's if anybody calls me from now to whenever. But here's the thing about that is I'm very, very solo. I'm slow too, but mainly I'm on time. I'm on time to all the jobs. It just depends on how far and how far I'm riding a bike. Because not to mention, I am local. I do have a bike with a trailer with lawn care equipment, but it's very, very tricky at times to get to do what I need to do. So I got people that give me the rides to jobs when they fill up to working. So and then something else that's gonna be new to the channel will be I'll show you. It's the microphones that I'm going to be using. Uh, that are Paramounts or whatever. I forget the name, but they are coming from Amazon. These are what's going to be new to the channel. Everybody uses them and everything. And so, you got to be able to, and you're going to get to hear me a lot better once I get them. Even though you could probably hear me okay, but you'll get to hear me a little bit better when I get those. Or if you can't hear me at all, you'll get to hear me when I have those. As of right now, nothing else is new to the channel besides what those two things that I had showed you. The things that I've already had is this computer, my mini fridge, my work cup, my desk, my paperwork that I do, my clipboard, and my calendar. Everything that I have is within reach of the desk, computer, phone, everything that I need. Now today I had bought a new extension cord and beef jerky stick, so I'm good. Now the extension cord that I had bought, it's to because I have one that's specifically for the stuff that I run on the desk. The thing is the other one is specifically for this phone with the charger and a few other things that I had plugged in. So as far as I know, that's pretty much it for what I'm talking about now. But within lawn care and stuff, it gets pretty easy. But this is coming towards the end of the week to where I'm actually, nothing but working, doing what I have to do. But the other thing is you don't want to overcharge anybody, because if you overcharge them way too much, say if they give you a specific job and you overcharge them, they're just gonna be a certain way. Now, I had a guy call me this morning and he was nothing but angry. Now, there's one customer, two customers around where I'm at that I work for, and I can please them. This one guy, man, he calls me up. Oh, I thought I was on a schedule. And I said, hey, sir, uh, you're not on a schedule. You never once, called me and said, hey, you need this and that done. You're talking about, oh, you're due for leaves and you need them raked and put beside your roadside so the garbage waste can come and get them. And it didn't happen. Well, and I told him, hey, you never once called and said, hey, you know, I need this done. I need that done. He never once called. He never once told me, oh, this is due. This and that and the other thing is done. It needs this and it needs that. And you know, he never once called. And I said, I can go in my office to my desk and check to see if you're on a schedule. Oh, please do. So I have him on the phone, put him on my ear. He's been on my ear. I look at the schedule and I'm like, hey, sir, you're not on the schedule for this week because you never once called me. Oh, I could have sworn you put me on a schedule for this week. And I'm like, I'm looking at the schedule right now. You're not on there. You never once called. I said, well, he said, well, I can find somebody else if need be. I'm like, you can do that. But all you had to do was call me and ask me nicely if I could put you on a schedule, and I would do it. He never once did it, so we he just like he was just going on and about, oh, I'm gonna find somebody else. I'm gonna do this, do that, and the other. I'm like, well, you can do that. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you you can't. So then he kind of, he just, and then what really got to me is, oh, you're a fake company. You ain't real. This is this and that and the other. And I'm like, well, listen, if you want to go ahead and go on about that, you can go on about it. But here's the thing: that if you quit me, you're no longer gonna get me back. We're done. Oh, well, that's okay. I'll find somebody else. And then he kind of just ended the kind of he kind of this he kind of ended the conversation that we were having right there and then. So, uh, you want to make sure that you're having respect with your clients, with your employees, or whatever. But I wasn't rude. I was telling him, hey, you weren't on the schedule. If you need, I could put you on the schedule. I was never once rude about it. I'm not a fake company. I never once said that I was a fake company. But I do try my best to please people, but you can't do it where I'm at in the area. You just won't be able to please them. You're no matter how hard you try, people are just not gonna be okay with the work that you do. It's gonna be hard on them to see what you do for a living, to see where you're upgrading, to see where you're at right now in the world. And to see where I'm at is what I'm talking about now. But here's the thing, he wasn't understanding why he wasn't on the darn schedule for this week. It's because he never once called and asked me, "Hey, I need this done. Can you please put me on a schedule for this day?" Now, I had a schedule open for, because I don't have too many people on a Wednesday or too many people on a Thursday or too busy. I ain't got even too many people on Mondays or Thursdays, Wednesdays. And I barely even have people on Fridays. I barely even do work on Fridays. I would like to be gone on Fridays and have long days and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But don't you want to make sure that you're having respect with others? You don't want to be rude to them. But this was like first thing in the morning. You call somebody up and start yelling at them. That's pretty much uncalled for. You start yelling at me, you're no longer a customer. That's how I like to look at it. You start yelling at me, oh yeah, you put me on a schedule, you never showed up, this, that, and the other. You start yelling at me about that, you're no longer a customer. I'm just gonna tell you that. You have the option to hire me. You have the option to do what you need. And you also have the option to not hire somebody. You also have that option to not pay somebody for doing the work, but you're not going to get them back if you don't pay them. You know what I mean? That's just what I like to look at, and that's my part of explaining things and my part of seeing things. But I try not to look at things the bad way. I also try to look at the things the right way, not the bad way. But you want to be the smart person and not, the hard person. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to make a little bit of sense to you guys, but I am a little tired. I did have a long day and a long week, and this is coming towards the end of the week where this guy actually wanted work, but I wasn't able to. I even told him I'm said I'm going over to my sister's today, and I already got so much going on my schedule right now. I can't stop and I'm not going to call her and say, "Hey, I can't make you today." Push her back. Just I can't do that. Now, if it's getting to where it's getting a little later in the day, I'm not going to say, "Hey, I can't do this job today or the next day." I can at least try to do it. But see, I was tired today. I was going to go do the church, about 5 or 6. But here's the thing: I was tired after I did my sister's yard, and I did pretty much of a long hours of work there, mowing and weed eating and blowing. I was tired. I was done. I wasn't doing nobody else's yard today. I was I know my body can't. I know when my body's tired and when I can't work that much like that. I can't take them. But and then with that part there, it can get so hot, but you gotta make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Within that being said, you want to make sure that you're building up muscle and a lot of you know, there could be times that you can be going to the gym, doing this, lifting weights, doing that, and doing the other thing. So, you got to kind of see where I'm coming from, fitting in and stuff. And Jesus and God love us. They want to see us doing good. They want to see us working. But here's the other thing: is that it can get, like I said, it can get to where it's 100 and something degrees out, and But you don't call somebody first thing in the morning. Here's the best thing here: be nice to one of another. When you call them, you say good morning, how are you doing, this, that, and the other thing. Don't call them up first thing, start yelling at them if they don't have you on a schedule. That makes you look bizarre. If I can say that, it just makes you look bizarre, and it makes you look obviously not good. So, and ain't nobody in the world like being yelled at. I'm gonna tell you, but you just. And I don't know how old he is. I'm not gonna, even if I had his age and he told me it, I wasn't gonna put it out here. But here's the thing, because I don't do that. I don't put people's age out there. The only person that I'll put my age, the ages out is me, myself. I won't put anybody else's out there. I'll put mine out there. Me being 24, 25, whatever. It's pretty easy, doing the work that I do now. So you got to be able to get into that time share, that time being that that's where you got to come in and get and pick and choose your battles here. I try to pick mine every day, but there's not too many that I know about that can get you to where you're at. you know so you kind of want to fit in, get in there with it, and kind of share where your battles are at. That's a whole nother concept there. And then if you get a phone call saying this, that, and the other, hey, can you come out here and give you a quote? Or if you charge for a quote, you can tell them no. Me personally, I don't charge to go out and give quotes. Now, I would if I had a gas operated truck and a gas operated lawnmower and all that other stuff, and I was using the truck and the trailer to go and find jobs. I would be charging the person that I'm giving the quote for. But with me being on a bike and having a bike with a trailer, I don't charge for those. I just, I let them go, and if it need be or whatever, it's all, you know, and then I like to say that if somebody gets hurt, it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. So you don't want to be horse playing or anything like that when you're working on a job. So, and you also, please, if you're on a phone, all I can say is please don't be, unless you're taking a break. Then that's fine to be on your phone, but don't be, doing this, doing that on an ongoing lawnmower. At least if you're going to be on your phone, stop doing the lawnmower, leave it running, but then you can do your text. But don't be having that lawnmower moving while you're, make sure you stop. Because God forbid, there could be a car, there could be a human being, and you're just going to go plow that lawnmower right through them and cut them in pieces. So you don't want to do that, but you also want to make sure you're not on your phone for that time of, for any type of the day of working, unless you're taking a break or whatever. But I'm not on my phone when I work. I mean, maybe if I'm listening to tunes or whatever, got my earbuds in, and I'm just trying to squirrel through. It's the only time I'm on the phone. I'm not going, and then I lose contact of what I'm doing on a. I'm all sidetracked on what I'm doing on the job. So main thing I like to be is not on a phone. Um, Another thing too. Another thing is if you're up on a ladder and you got a blower, make sure somebody's holding it for you. I do a lot of clean outs with gutters and stuff. And my past one, my last one, I had somebody hold the ladder, and that ladder started holding. He's like, "Well, stay up there. I'm gonna drop." That wasn't good for that guy there. It kind of scared me when he tried to shove that ladder back and me on top with a blower on my back. He kind of, but main thing is you want to have insurance on a business. Um, but for the stuff that I do, I don't really need, you know, business insurance because mainly I do weed eating, mowing, raking, brush cleanups, tree trimming, hedge trimming, mainly. And really for that kind of stuff, I don't, really need it. Um, but yeah, if I had people working with me, then yes, I would need it. But really, if I'm by myself, I don't need it right now. That can be on a later date. And then let me show you something else that's going to be new to the channel. If I can get them made, I just got to make that a certain amount of money before I can get them made. But this is what I am wanting to get made. And my sister actually made this. It's like a business thing. She uses this app or whatever. Don't know what it's called, but she made this, and I'm actually in the picture. But I need to have a new picture made with me wearing my business shirt. But that's made up. She did that, and then my phone number's there, and of course it says call or text today, and I'm okay with whatever. And then but I want to get them made. I want to get the as much of what I can made up and stuff like that. So it all comes out good when it comes to into hand and stuff. But yeah, it'll uh, it'll get there within the cool flyers or whatever So my sister made that with that app and stuff like that. So as soon as I can get them made, which I'm gonna figure out real soon, I also got to have you know the good a good place to go to, like maybe Office Depot, stuff like that, maybe, and then tell them pretty much how big of a size I need, and then however much it could be. But then I want to make sure. So that right there would be something new to the channel if I can get them made and then stick them in a binder. But as of right now, what I do is I handwrite them. But if I had what I just showed you, that would be new to the channel. And once I get them made, I can show them on the camera here. Um, that's just something to fall back on when it comes into the YouTube and to everything. And hopefully everybody enjoys it. I hope Chris at your age enjoys it, and whoever else is watching, I hope they're enjoying the video. This is just every Friday night, every Sunday night. So every Friday night, every Sunday night, I will be back on here, and Sunday night I will be on here again. So um, just you got to be on the lookout for it. It's going to be probably 8:30 whenever I come on next time, which will probably be so. Friday nights will probably go from no, so Friday night will go from 7:30, and then Sunday nights will be 8 o'clock to about you know whatever else. So with that all being said, it works out good. And then of course we had a crazy day today. Um, it was wild. And I would share it with y'all, but I don't know what would be, what would be good and what would be bad. So, just and what I like to say is just thank the Lord for a lot of things if need be. And um It's just crazy. And then of course this pollen, which I'm probably got it all up in my lungs right now because it's in my nose, and it'll probably be worse tomorrow when I wake up. But it's been a long week. I'm gonna tell you, I can't say that enough. It's been a long week. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't work Monday, but I did. I also did work Tuesday. I didn't work Wednesday, but I did work Thursday, and I did work today. So, you know, it's crazy on how much work you can actually get done. So, and there's a lot of people that will tell you, "Oh, the yard's good. It's just now getting green. It can go for another month." And that was the yard that I had Monday. I called and said, "Hey, your yard actually can go for another a week because it doesn't have no weeds, it doesn't have no grass, just a whole bunch of leaves. Oh, can you blow them for me? I'm not gonna be sitting there blowing a bunch of dirt, because it's on a dirt road. If you, I can one day record, I can actually show you guys that what I'm talking about. It's nothing but dirt, and I don't want to sit around there just blowing dirt and getting the dirt in my lungs and having to breathe it and then waking up to a sore throat. That's hard on me. That's hard on the equipment, you know. And here's what I like to say. I try to work. Well, this is what I try to do. This is not what I like to say. Work hard, or I mean, uh, what's that word I'm looking for? It was right there, and then I lost it. But oh, uh, there it was again, and lost it again. So anyway, the main thing is less work and stuff like that. Well, this is what I told when I was at my sister's house. Everybody was working. My Her boyfriend's kid was working and stuff, it, and she said she was just talking, and I'm like, less talking, more work, And she started laughing, she got a kick out of it. But my sister Taya, shout out, she said, "Man, that's hilarious. You said less talking, more work." So, and that's what I like to say too. Whenever I'm trying to weed eat and I get to a job, I'll be looking at my phone and it's like, man, I looked at this enough. The job ain't gonna get done by itself, and you know. But it would be nice if a job got done by itself. I will tell you that if the job would get done by itself, that would be a blessing. Where you're just sitting around and don't have to do nothing, the yard just got done by itself. That would be nice. But apparently, stuff like that don't work like it should. So, um, when you have more time within the business and the careers that you got, you're doing way more than what you got. So you want to work smarter, not harder. There we go. There it is. Work hard, work smarter, not harder. So that's what I try to do, and I finally got it out of my head here. It's it's just also something that I like to try to do when and if it's need be. Um, Now, A, make sure you got plenty of weed in your string. B, make sure you got plenty of gas. C, you're walking around the yard making sure you're not gonna run over anything. Uh, A and B and D and C, you got to make sure that you're doing everything right on a job site. You don't want to mess anything up. And God forbid, if you mess up on something on the property, mainly don't lie to them. Tell them the truth. I ain't had to tell nothing to a customer yet, but God forbid, let's keep it that way. and and here's also another thing is I do nothing but eat all the time, and it kind of you got to kind of fit that in with slowing down and doing stuff like that. Now, fast food, I'll eat that sometimes, but then at the same time, I'm trying to like slow down on it, die down a little bit. Um, I also like to think of it like this: I'm hibernating, but I'm really not. Now, I kind of also think about it like this: when I go to bed at night, watch a little bit of TV, YouTube, whatever. I don't watch regular TV, but if I watch YouTube on the TV, I'll lay there, have a few snacks here and there, and then turn out the TV, fold the bag of chips or whatever I may be eating. Uh, and then I like to say that whenever I go to sleep, I'm hibernating, and then when I wake up, I'm starting my whole day over again. That's the whole main thing. And I just hope everybody that I work for is doing all right, and everybody that I do work for is doing okay and a-okay. But also, I hope for me, my business grows and gets bigger, and I get a bigger company, bigger this, bigger that. I hope I get a lot of stuff. And with the employees that I have, I'm happy and I'm grateful for. But don't get me wrong, rain will be needed when it starts growing and stuff like that. Um, I'm gonna start dying down here and reading these comments. So let's see. We got Chris Urich. Hey, bro. We got Rollell. Hi. We got Chris Urich again. Cool Flyers. We got Nancy with emojis. We got Nancy again. We need more rain. Yes, we do. So, more rain will be needed when we are starting lawn care. And we also need it so we can do our burning again. I do miss that a lot, being able to burn, you know, and that's a whole nother thing is that the burn ban is actually, slowing this down a little bit, but it should get better if we get more rain, which will be needed sooner than later, and hopefully it'll rain sometime this week. Um, but blood work will be Monday, which I'm going to enjoy this weekend if I can. Sleep as much as I can because I'm going to need it. My body needs it. And I've done nothing but work all this week and everything like that. And I'm pretty sure my buddy Chris Urich has worked all this week as well. And he's tired, and God, I hope and pray that he doesn't have to work tomorrow, but I just hope everything goes well and that he goes well with working with them pools and he's good at what I do. I try to be good at what I do, and I'm pretty sure Chris Yurge, shout out goes to him, that he's trying his best to be good at what he does, and I try to pull weeds if need be, and trim trees if need be. But as my good friend said that I do lawn care for, we need more rain, and she ain't wrong. Because after what I seen today, we need it. And that's actually what's slowing us down right now is this rain or this burn ban. But it should get better before too long. And with that all being said, um, I was going to stay on here a little bit while longer, but this is actually as long as I wanted to go. But we are going to have two new things, which one of the new things is already here. It's my safety glasses, but you can't wear them on a live unless you're outside. So therefore, but what would be a full time new to the channel is the things that I have here are the microphones. I'm going to show them one last time, just so you guys ain't confused or whoever watches this after last minute. But the ones that I'm talking about are right here. Back out a little bit. They're on Amazon. So hopefully they'll work. And one of these days, hopefully, I can have somebody on here live with me. I'm going to talk to my sister. Maybe she'll do it with me. Maybe one of the girls or so would do it, Um, Somebody I'm pretty sure I can interview on here or have go live with me and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure my sister would want to go live with me. Um, and that's a whole nother thing here, is you want to be able to do a concept and be able to stick with the concept. And that's a whole other thing with me. I got to find a business and stick with it, but that's not going to be until a later date, because I want to kind of do landscape and make as much money as I can. And whether or not I want to do it all my life, I can do that, but it's got to be within reason. And I got to have, I this is a must. I got to have a truck and a trailer and all that if I'm gonna do this type of work. But it's mainly about what I want to do. But I also don't want to be working at Publix, but because I'm trying to stay away from that concept, because I don't like working indoors. But there's plenty of places that you're gonna be working outdoors. Like they can at Publix, they could put you out on carts. They could put you on, you know, helping people take their groceries out. But a lot of people they do it by themselves. And then they got Lowe's and Home Depot, all them outside places. You know, I'm thinking maybe Bass Pro, but I think all the coworkers there are working inside. So it's like, lawn care for me would be better, because I'm more of an outside guy and I like it. And, I like cutting grass, I like trimming, But the thing that's really hurting me right now the most is no rain. Everything's still a little dry, but it is getting green if you haven't noticed. So that's what's helping us a little bit here too. But it's mainly, taking it slow, taking your time, a little bit at a time, and everything like that. So, and as my friend would tell me that I work for, she tells me, "Oh, you want to take your time, one day at a time, and you'll eventually get a job done." And hey, she ain't wrong. We're almost halfway. She helps me with a room, and it's halfway even through. We're halfway done with it. So, but then we got to focus on the grass, and which I really don't want to talk about that right now because we need some rain to get stuff going. But right now, I ain't quite ready to be boom, 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 boom going doing yards right now. So I want to be able to relax a little while longer and then make that money, boys. So here's the thing about that is you want to be the smart person. You don't want to be doing what you think is going to be the hardest job for you, you know, because like I said, God and Jesus are, the main people that watch and pretty much over us. I'm not a preacher. I kind of wish I could be, but I don't think preachers make that much, that talking about the Lord and stuff like that. And really, what I'm doing on here is really talking about my business, and the Lord probably pretty much loves it, And I hate to tell you guys, but I am saved. I believe in the Lord. I believe in God, because He's actually done a lot, and He's been doing and doing and doing for me, and He's been helping me find jobs. He's been helping me find good people, and He blessed me with a good customer right now that I do every other Friday, or I mean every other Tuesday when she needs me, and it's a blessing. She's funny. There's all kinds of nice things that I could say about this customer, and I can't ask for a better customer, to be honest. And like I said, around where I'm at right now, you cannot please anybody with lawn care, because what I just went through this morning with this guy, he's dropped, he's going to find somebody, but that's besides the point. There's plenty of other customers in the deep, deep sea, is what I like to think about. There's plenty of customers out in the deep, deep sea, and if I'm finding a girlfriend or whatever, I always like to think about it like this: there's plenty of fish in the water. That's what I like to think about. but I'm not there yet. I'm still young and I don't want any girls because all they do is cause trouble. So, with that all being said, keep making money and keep growing and keep mowing, boys. Cardinal Lawn Life out.